Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show.
Cup of Joe Wrestling Show?
With Joey Harris. A podcast for the wrestling fan on the go. So take your favorite beverage of choice and join Joey as he takes a look at some of the biggest shows on the WWE Network.
Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show. I'm your host, Joey Harris, and we are broadcasting from makeshift studios in the shadow of South Central Virginia. Follow the show on Twitter and Blue Sky at Cup of Joe Pod. Email the show at cupofjoewrestlingshow@gmail.com. You can support the show at paypal.me/cupofjoepod. I am on Cash App and Venmo at The Joey Harris. And of course, patreon.com/babykangaroo media. For bonus episodes of the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show, the Joey Harris Super Show, the Green Room, the Book Club Baristas, and so much more, just $5 a month for hours of extra content. And folks, back again right up here at the top of the show, I wanted to send out my condolences on the loss of Don Cost, longtime Oregon wrestling announcer. My thoughts and prayers go out to his friends and fans and family, as well as welcome to new listeners. If you were checking me out for the first time because I was on the Outdated Wrestling Hour with Bob Smith, or you checked out Bob on my show, welcome. This is a show where we take a look at some of wrestling's biggest shows, especially those on the WWE Network on Peacock, and it's for the wrestling fan on the go. So, as the intro says, grab your beverage of choice and join me as today we take a look at NXT Takeover Rival from the WWE. NXT Takeover Rival was shown on the WWE Network on February the 11th, 2015 from Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida. There were 400 plus in attendance. We get our WWE and Takeover intros. Rich Brennan, Corey Graves, and Jason Albert welcome us to Takeover as we start with a flashback to what led up to our first match. Hideo Itami versus Tyler Breeze. Breeze booed when he came out. Liv Morgan plays a planted fan who jumps on Breeze's back as he comes to the ring. The bell rings and Itami comes out hot. Breeze avoids kicks. Breeze comes back with punches and strikes. Itami with the corner clothesline. They fight to the outside. Back in, Itami with a combo of kicks. Breeze comes back by attacking Itami's legs. He drops a series of elbows on the legs. Breeze wraps Itami's legs around the ring post and puts the figure four on Itami around the pole. Breeze with a version of the sharpshooter. Itami gets to the ropes. They both have a series of close counts. Itami comes back with a combo of moves. A series of kicks to Breeze. Itami hits the running kick to get the pin. William Regal checks Kevin Owens to make sure he stays away from Sami Zayn. No disqualification match. Bull Dempsey versus Baron Corbin. Flashback to what led up to the match. Corbin comes out and attacks Dempsey right away. Dempsey suplexes Corbin on the ramp and into a ring post. He beats Corbin down. They get into the ring and Corbin hits a spine buster for a 2 count. They fall out of the ring as Dempsey hits a clothesline. Dempsey powers Corbin down. Back in, Dempsey hits a diving headbutt for a 2 count. Dempsey kicks Corbin out. He runs Corbin into the ring steps and grabs a chair. He comes in and Corbin hits the End of Days out of nowhere to get the pin. Corbin sets the chair up and sits on it over the fallen Dempsey. Regal shown talking with Sami Zayn, followed by a WWE Network ad, and then Becky Lynch and Bayley shown getting ready for their match later on. NXT Tag Team Championship match, Blake and Murphy versus the Lucha Dragons, Kalisto and Sin Cara. The Lucha Dragons are popular with the crowd. The belts are presented and the bell rings. Sin Cara and Blake start. Sin Cara with the early advantage. Blake comes back with kicks. Back and forth. Sin Cara with chops and a running forearm. All 4 men in. Kalisto hits a dive on Murphy on the second attempt after botching the first. Sin Cara puts Blake on the top rope and hits an enziguri. He hits the top rope victory roll for a 2 count. Kalisto and Murphy tagged in. They trade moves. Blake tagged back in and they double team Kalisto. Murphy is now in and the tag champions are quick tagging. Kalisto comes back but hesitates. He gets a variety of 2 counts from covers. Murphy and Sin Cara both tagged in. Sin Cara with a variety of counters, but he can't get the pin. Blake hits a frog splash after a tag to get the pin. A feature on the number 1 contenders tournament. Tournament final, Adrian Neville versus Finn Balor. Balor comes out in his demon persona. The best thing I can say about it is that the crowd is into it. The bell rings and they go at it. Neville with a side headlock, back and forth. Balor hits a drop kick and Neville rolls out. He comes back and gets another drop kick. hits a springboard drop kick of his own. Neville with a side headlock takeover. Neville kicks Balor in the corner. Neville with a rear chin lock. Balor tries to get out. He does and hits a chop. Neville comes back with a drop kick. He hits the suplex and gets a 2 count. Neville goes back to the chin lock. Neville goes up top and Balor hits him with an enziguri and hits Neville with a tope. Neville keeps away from Balor. Balor with a running drop kick and kicks Neville through a barricade. He hits a double stomp from the top for a 2 count. Neville comes back with strikes. They trade kicks. Neville hits a pair of German suplexes. A corkscrew from the top rope gets another 2 count for Neville. Balor keeps kicking out. Balor hits a sling blade. Balor gets a reverse DDT for a 2 count. Balor goes up top, but Neville grabs his leg and hits an enziguri. Neville hits the red arrow, but Balor gets the knees up and rolls Neville up for a 2 count. Balor hits a coup de grace to get the pin. This was a fantastic match. Neville shakes Balor's hand and then leaves. Sasha Banks and Charlotte shown in the back. Flashback to what led to the next match. Fatal 4-way for the NXT Women's Championship. Charlotte Flair versus Sasha Banks versus Bayley versus Becky Lynch. Bayley out first to a great ovation. Sasha Banks out next, followed by Becky Lynch. Charlotte finally comes out. The crowd woos. Charlotte attacks the others as the match starts. It quickly goes outside and Lynch throws Charlotte into the apron, causing the LED display to go out. Lynch and Banks attack Bayley. They throw her into a corner. Lynch then hits a pump handle suplex on Banks. She covers Bayley for a 2 count. She puts a submission move on Bayley, but Banks breaks it up. Lynch with a top rope drop kick to Banks. Charlotte comes in and hits a neck breaker on Banks. Then one to Lynch. Banks breaks up the cover. A series of big moves by Bayley and Charlotte. Banks runs Lynch and Charlotte into the corner and hits the double knees on both, but can't get the pin. Bayley hits a series of back elbows to Charlotte. She then hits a top rope Hurricane Rana and a Bayley to belly to Charlotte, but Lynch breaks up the cover. Bayley attacks Lynch. Banks hits both of them with a tope. Charlotte then takes it up a notch with a tope of her own. Charlotte throws Lynch into the ring. Lynch reverses for a 2 count. Bayley in and hits a top rope Bayley to belly. Banks breaks up the cover and gets a 2 count on Charlotte. Banks puts a crossface to Charlotte. Charlotte tries to get out. Banks reverses to a roll up and gets the pin, and we have a new women's champion, and that honestly surprised me. Banks celebrates and holds the belt high. Charlotte offers her hand to Banks, and then they hug. Flashback to what led up to the main event, NXT Championship match, Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. Owens out first and gets a decent reaction, which surprised me. Zayn out to a fantastic reception. They stare at each other across the ring as the introductions are made. Owens looks intense. Zayn looks relaxed. The belt is presented. The bell rings. They continue to stare. Owens goes to the outside. He takes his time getting back in as Zayn goes to lock up. Owens bails out to the floor. Zayn hits a suicide dive over the referee to hit Owens on the outside. Zayn throws Owens in and attacks Owens. Owens comes back with a corner clothesline. He hits a second one, and Zayn falls to the mat. Owens with a corner whip, and Zayn falls again. Owens chops Zayn down. He continues the attack as the crowd does an Olay chant for Zayn. Owens gets a 2 count. Owens with a rear chin lock. Zayn fights to get out. He does, and Owens with a double sledge to knock Zayn back down. They trade moves. Owens gets a 2 count. He goes back to the chin lock. Zayn fights the pain. Owens with the back suplex for a 2 count. He throws Zayn out. He runs him into the ring. Owens with a series of clotheslines to Zayn. He throws Zayn into the ring. He hits a gut buster and a senton and gets a 2 count. Zayn comes back with a jawbreaker. Zayn will not stay down. He starts a comeback. He runs Owens into the ring steps. He clotheslines Owens. They trade moves. Zayn with a Blue Thunder Bomb for a 2 count. Owens with a Cannonball for a 2 count. Owens hits a shoulder breaker for a close 2 count. A series of close counts by both men. Owens guillotines Zayn on the top rope. Owens goes up top, but gets caught. They fight on the top rope. Owens with a swanton, but Zayn gets his knees up. Zayn hits an exploder suplex, but Owens rolls out as Zayn goes for the haluva kick. Zayn with a springboard moonsault, but Zayn hits his head on the ramp. They get back in the ring, but Zayn seems out of it. Owens hits a pop-up powerbomb for a 2 count. Owens goes after Zayn hard. The referee tries to get Owens away from Zayn. He continues the assault. The NXT trainer comes out to check on Zayn. Owens hits 2 pop-up powerbombs for a 2 count. He then hits 2 more powerbombs. The referee rings the bell. The crowd boos as Owens is declared the champion. Officials check on Zayn. They highlight the match as Owens holds the championship high on Zayn, and they sign off from Full Sail. Final thoughts. Fantastic show with the last 3 matches highlighting the best of NXT. You can follow me on Facebook, Threads, and Instagram at @TheJoeyHarris. If you like the show, please leave a review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or your preferred podcast app. I would really appreciate it, and it helps people to find the show. We can also be found on Spotify and YouTube. Just search for The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show, and don't forget to hit subscribe. Thank you for joining me. This is Joey saying so long from the heart of Virginia.
The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show is a production of Baby Kangaroo Media.